Now then, people, good evening, afternoon, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I've got my chair back, my feet up. It was a little bit more relaxed, controlled, possession with precision and purpose in that first half. And look, I know people were bored watching it and saying "fark out" after 10, 15 minutes, but ultimately, the early parts of the game, they've come with a job to do. They put 6 men in defence. They defended resolutely. Then when concentration drops, obviously, holes started to appear. Aronson wins as a corner. We get across. We score from a corner. Joe Rodon, well done. First time for everything, because, of course, he'd missed an absolute sitter not long before. And then Max Vober, who said, listen, I'm staking a claim to stay in this side for sure. So I thought he actually changed the game a little bit in Leeds United's favour, to be honest, did Vober. He gave us something a little bit different, but can only beat what's in front of you. Second half wasn't great, but we're sort of used to that now a little bit under the manager. Take your foot off. Nice, chilled, relaxed. Easy, comfortable 3 points. And then we've got a tough test on Tuesday. But Leeds United now sitting top of the table. Happy days. That's where we want to be. Joe, you were here first. How was that for you, my man?
That was pretty great, to be honest with you. It was very, very relaxed. I went into it being a bit like, well, Vober's come on. I think he might play a little bit more passively than Junior Firpo. It turns out he's a centre forward, which I've got no complaints about, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, it was controlled. It was everything that we've sort of become familiar with, and that's why, like, I'm not going to complain about it too much, if that all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Kayla just peeked her head around the door, saw that I was doing this, and went, shit, and ran away. But anyway, yeah, very, very good. Very happy with it.
Yeah. Andrea, look, I know people say it's only Derby, it's this, it's that, but it was a much better, a much needed, comfortable performance for Leeds United.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a bit of fresh air, especially after the performance at the Blackpool, a performance under under our standards, at Eve Park today was different. I think we started a little bit slow on the ball, slow to get into the game, but the goal just clicked us, made us click into the game, change the mentality, and everything went easier. They are a really poor side. This needs to be said. But if we approach these kind of games after we understand how to play against those kind of teams, because it was a sort of a mixture between a low block and a positional pressing, them not pressing, positional weight in a certain sense, So we struggled at the beginning, I think, to figure it out. Once we scored, I think the game was just in run. We controlled that. I think the second half was good actually to watch, because I think we created was much rhythm compared to the first half, to the start of the first half. But yeah, overall, this is the mentality. Weber is a good example of that. He's called upon, unfamiliar role. He gives you his 100%. Of course, he's not a left back, but he tried to play as Farke wanted him to play, similar to Firpo, similar to what Byron does in that position. Of course, his body type, his pace is not the same as Byron, it's not the same as Firpo's, but he tried to do that, and he was awarded with following at the play and score too. So yeah, it's there were some good signs in this performance. Of course, they are really, really, really poor side, honestly. I struggle to see them stay up if they play like that. They have very little pace, very slow on the ball, very, very little in terms of aggression on the pitch. So I don't see them staying up if they play like that. But we needed to look at those. We did. We adapted to the game. Once we did that, our game plan arrived, and we were already balanced at the beginning. Tanaka and Rothwell struggled to find the ball in the middle. Once we figured it out, I think Rothwell was monumental today. Tanaka is an assurance, he's a guarantee. Right now, James really liked him. I think overall, there were some good performances out there. Now it's up to us to find continuity, consistency, and bring this kind of performance, this kind of standards against a tougher opposition like Boro.
Yeah. No, you're right. Exactly. We need to carry that in. And Evie, I mean, the home form's pretty imperious. It's the first time since June 2020 that Leeds have kept 4 clean sheets on the spin at Ellen Road. I think they got 0.08 XG, and that was a shot from like far away. We just look so comfortable at home, don't we? I know sometimes, it can be a bit like left. But really, as well, we can't be too harsh on us because the opposition come with a certain game plan. And if there's 6 men in front of the fucking goal, it's hard to create chances at will, isn't it? So, yeah, what was your takeaway from it?
Obviously, Rodon, first professional goal. First goal. First professional goal.
I'm not surprised with his fucking heading like that. Yeah.
So I thought Rothwell's delivery, considering was definitely better in the first half, but the second half, obviously, where the wind was, it was slightly more difficult for him in terms of when he was delivering the ball in. It limited his options when we were at the other end because the wind just seemed to be blowing against us. But I thought, we took the chances. Yes, we could have had more. The fact the goalkeeper kept them in it. I know he was making some ridiculous, he just wouldn't drive it low out of their box. He kept on kicking it in the second half, and it's like you can't do that because the wind just stopped it in midair. But he didn't learn for the entire 45 minutes, which obviously we almost got a bit of joy out of that, which was quite funny. But I was very happy with that. When you consider, like you said, the opposition, they come with a game plan. When you consider the adverse weather conditions as well, it was awful. And I think we made the right decision in terms of when we usually go shoot towards Cop End in the second half. I think we made the right decision in terms of, obviously we swapped it up. I don't know whether that was Derby's choice or what today, but it worked for us because we kind of grew in momentum, got the goals that we needed to do. I actually said I thought that we would win 2-0 because I didn't think it was going to be, I thought it was going to be efficient. I didn't think it was going to be a goal fest or anything like that. I just thought we were going to get the job done very comfortably, and we did. I would like to see us score more just because it is so tight at the top that I would love us to have a really, I think we've got the best goal difference in the league.
Yeah.
But I would really like it to just be that little bit more. But that's just me being really, really nitpicky. I was impressed with.
We've got 4 goals over the next close. You know what I mean? It's not bad.
Yeah. But obviously, we're now hoping that Sheffield drop any sort of points tomorrow. Really hoping that Carlos Corberán does us a favour, and he could stop that draw routine that he's got going on at the minute. Because I
think. Winning. We spoke about it, didn't we? The month of December is really kind to Leeds, so this is the month where we really need to get a fucking stranglehold on it because Burnley and Sheffield United do have some very difficult fixtures coming up. They've got to play each other as well, so there's another opportunity there. So you've got to, Tuesday will be very difficult, but after that, you'd hope Leeds United would win. Folks, do smash a like on the video for us, please. Just having a look, Joe B, it's 6 clean sheets in 7 home games now as well. 7th consecutive win at Ellen Road. How do we take this? And look, some people think it's turgid or whatever, but give me this away from home at Preston in a week's time. How do we take this performance from Ellen Road to other grounds? How do we do it?
I think we need to keep in mind that although some people are calling it turgid, we did have 18 shots. That's not nothing. We were absolutely peppering them, and the fact that they're not going on target isn't exactly the manager's fault, Demar. But at the same time, when it comes to playing away from home, it's a very different dynamic. So I thought we would have maybe done a bit better last week because with the amount of seats that Blackburn give other sides, it was effectively a home crowd. A third of the people in there were Leeds fans, not counting the many that were presumably also in the Blackburn seats. But it's a tough one, isn't it? I think if I was able to work out the answer and give you the answer, then I feel like Daniel Farker would have worked out already. It could be a mindset thing. It could be just the way other teams play against us when they're at home kind of thing. I'm really not sure. But it's
Yeah. We I don't know why I've sat up and my camera's just shut my mouth. Let me just change that. One sec. It's like guess the
Looks like a cover from an album, like those rappers when they just put the below of the face.
Andrea, what
Yeah.
did you make? What did you make to the lineup? Nonto on the bench. Aronson kept his place in the 10. Solomon kept his place. Well, came back in at left wing. James over. Nonto on the right. Still no start for Ramazani. Were you happy with the lineup? Firpo in as well. That's something we need to talk about because I think with that being off ball, we might miss him for a bit. But what did you make to the lineup? I felt it was the right decision in terms of if no one's going to replace Aronson in the 10. We've done that. But if no one's going to do that, then the wing choices for me were the correct choices based on form, I feel. I know that everyone won't agree on that, but what were your thoughts?
No, I agree. Based on form and opposition, I think. Because my ideal lineup in terms of wingers right now is Solomon on the left and Ramazani on the right. But today he needed to go with Solomon on the left and James on the right because, like I said, they don't have Derby County, they don't have much pace. So we've seen today that, James, 1v1 situations, 8 times out of 10 he won, basically. 80-90% success rate, in terms of that. And he also stretches if you want to switch the size. He has the space to run. To make the running behind or run with the ball too. So I think it was a smart choice, a smart lineup today. It was smart too to not play Ampadu, honestly, because he needs time to get back. And the only thing that I wasn't really getting along with was the decision to pick Firpo at the beginning, because he said he had a knock before the game. He was we've seen at Blackburn that he wasn't 100% fit. He was still recovering from trying to find his feet, to find his form back, after his injury, So he wasn't 100% before Blackburn. Imagine after a knock during the week. So, of course, we were really, really light in that regard because Schmidt had the hernia operation. Weber is practically a centre-back. He plays as the left centre-back when he plays in a back three with Oster, with not Ragnick. But, we needed to adapt. And given the opposition, not top opposition, I thought he would have gone with Weber from the start, honestly. And the rest Firpo, let him recover after the knock. But yeah, we know that if a player is injury prone, it's a risk to play him, honestly. They took the risk. Other times we took the risk and we were right. Today we took the risk and unfortunately we were wrong, honestly. So I think we will miss him probably for a while now. Of course, I'm no medic. We'll see what the response, the answer after the test is, but it's a huge miss. And honestly, right now, if we have all the left backs injured because Firpo, Byram, Schmidt, all injured, Schmidt is back in training, of course, but he needs time to get back to his form. And as we've seen, he missed his chance, unfortunately, because right now it would have been the perfect time to introduce him into the team,
Yeah.
But we've seen that so far, Farke, he doesn't see him as a first choice sub, off the bench.
No, he doesn't. You're right.
But Weber, I think he did right, considering the type of game, in a different type of game, for example, against Borough wingers. I don't know if it'll be the same because he barely had to cover today. So he had the space to get forward because they were not trying to attack us, to press us. They were just waiting for us sitting deep. So in a different kind of game, I think he worries me a bit, Weber, down there. Of course, if he has to stay back as a defender, it's all right. But if Farke asks him to do what he did today, like the ideal Farke fullback, get forward, help the midfield, stretch the team, create width, in terms of how the team is stretched through the pitch. If he asks him to do that, for example, against Borough, I'm a little bit worried because Struijk might have to
Zion
cover more.
Jones normally plays on the
Exactly,
right.
man. Exactly, mate. I was thinking
player.
exactly of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very good player, and they've got a very good side of Middlesbrough. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. It will be a little bit of a worry. But listen, that's what you've got squads for, and we can't really say Evie, because when you look at that bench, when you look at this squad, it's so stacked, isn't it? When I looked at the bench and you're going, Ramazani, Ampadu, Bamford, I'm just tripping over my words, but the bench, the squad, bringing on Gulavogi and the like, it's really impressive, isn't it, in this league? So you got to hope we've got more than enough.
Oh yeah, when I almost pitied them. If it wasn't Derby, then I would probably have felt slightly more sorry for them. But when 2-0 down at half time, and obviously the goalkeeper gets the tips of his fingertips to that Pirro shot as well, which should have been 3. That happens, then it is literally curtains, and we can start bringing on the under 21s players, let alone the actual stacked bench, because we were that comfortable. They showed at half, was it about 80 minutes in or 70 minutes? They showed the momentum graph on the screen, and Derby had one little bit like that in the 60th minute, and then a tinier bit in the 75th minute or something, and that is all they'd had the entire game. And the fact that we're still playing with people who were getting their footing back in the game, Ramazani coming back from injury, Verba coming back from injury / kind of exile. You've got obviously who else have we got? You have Tanaka and Rothwell, who obviously at the start of the season weren't first, second, third, choice midfield. You've got all of these people, and then we've still got a stacked bench to come on. You just kind of, felt a bit, borderline sorry for them that, you've had Dan James and Solomon and Aronson and Bogle as well, making brilliant runs up against you for kind of 60 odd minutes. And then you've got Ramazani and Nonto and Joseph, wow, that, we are at this level, we are spoilt with the attacking riches that we have. Yeah. I wish we had a little bit more height, just because obviously I'm so glad for Rodon today. And I told my husband, because he was like, he's going to get a goal today. And so unfortunately he was bloody right. But I said, if he scores, I'm going to scream. And I absolutely went ballistic. But that's the first time in a season and a half that he's scored. So I would like some more height. I would like a Gilavogi to come on sooner, in my opinion, and I'd like Rothwell to stay on, because the problem is, you take Rothwell off and bring Gilavogi on, you take your best set piece taker off, and you probably take your most threatening physical player to score a set piece on. I don't understand the.
Do you know what
I
think it might be a fitness thing with Joe Rothwell, because I don't know, because he obviously hasn't played a lot of football in the last two seasons, has he? He didn't play much. Maybe it's that, but then also there's that case because Evie, I was making the point on the watch along, remember he would never take Ampadu off. Now he's never taking Tanaka off, and I think if them two play together, will he ever change the midfield? Will he just keep them two on for 90 minutes? I don't know, but
there were Zimmer frames, kind of like these box can we come off now?
Yeah, I don't know what he'll do.
Basically, Tanaka is the new Ampadu.
Yeah. It's crazy. What a shock to see him on the bench, by the way, already.
I'm happy that we didn't need him, though. Yes, I'm happy that he was not called upon. He was there just to look pretty and stuff, rather than actually useful.
And good for the team too, because you saw, of course, it's a little detail, but before the game, when the camera went to the bench and there was Nyonto, there was Ramazani pointing to Ampadu like he's back. They were very happy for him, because they know the importance he has in the team. If he's so versatile, he can play in a midfield 2 or a midfield 3, also centre back. But I don't want him to be a centre back anymore, honestly, after last season, because we lost everything when he moved to centre back. Yeah, because we were there. Yeah.
I just think
you could argue that we wouldn't do that necessarily this season, because we actually have a better midfield than we did do last season. So if I agree, I'd much rather see him in midfield. But if the worst thing was to happen and we lost Strauch and Firpo and we had to have Max Verba at left back and Ampadu at centre back, we know that that Rodon and Ampadu have a good relationship, for Wales, for Leeds and everything. So it's not the worst, but yeah, I agree. I'd much rather just see Ampadu be able to be played in his best position.
I think he's perfect in this team as the pivot in a 4-3-3. I still think we need to change the formation to 4-3-3. Honestly, even after today, even if Aronson, he walked, he tried, he understood better the flow of the game. But I think we're better without the 10 right now. I'm convincing myself to that. Honestly, performance after performance. I would like to see with the pivot and still Tanaka and Rothwell, because you saw Tanaka.
In the presser, Farke mentioned, obviously, once we get Ampadu back, it might mean we can use a midfielder in the 10 position. So could there be a case of having Rothwell, Tanaka and Ampadu moving forward if Aronson was to come out? Can we talk about Aronson? It's a bit of a mad subject on this channel. but he was, he flattered to deceive early doors, I felt, made the wrong pass at times. But then, obviously, he wins us the corner. He's involved in the goal as well. Yeah, I thought he was okay today. I'm not going to say it was amazing, but he was okay. And he has had a lot of criticism. Some would say rightly, some would say wrongly. It is what it is. But he was okay today, right? We're all right.
It was decent, yeah.
I think that... you could tell he'd had a week rest. And I think that's what makes the difference. We saw with the wingers during last week's 3-game week that they had rotation. I know that's a dangerous word to say, but they got rotated, so it meant that they stayed fresh the entire time, whereas, Aronson didn't. Whereas this week, he's had a week's rest, so there was no reason, in theory, not to start him. But maybe the previous game or the one before that, you could have not started him for that very same reason. I think he needs, time, and this week he's had time, and it showed because. And
he brought him off earlier as well.
Like my husband. My husband's in full agreement with you, Joe. By the way. Like he
knows what he's talking about.
Get him on the show. Get him on the show.
Can you imagine the clip ups then? Husband and wife going at it.
Oh my god, no. Oh no, people talk about me cooking people, he'd cook me.
Bring him on.
Let's not. But I thought that he settled into the game, and then you could tell he was starting to wane out of the game as well. I think Farke took him off at the right time. Like, he was still being effective, but he just wasn't as good. So then I think Farke's game management in that sense made perfect sense for everybody, and it allowed, obviously we've got another game midweek, so then that means that for me Aronson would start, because he'd had a good 30 minutes of not playing at the end of this game. That again, he would have no. We need that kind of non-stop niggly player kind of thing. We need that. We saw in one of his best games. Although I know everybody says the Chelsea game, but it was the Liverpool 2-1 for me, because of the fact that he was just an absolute pain in the backside for all of the centre-backs and the midfield in that game. So that's the kind of player that I want to see. And I thought he did well. I wish that he would make his decisions sooner, because there was the ball from Solomon, which he then should have hit first time and then kept hold and carried the ball all the way across most of the penalty box. And then I think eventually sent it to James, and it just then fluffed out kind of thing. And that's what I mean with the confidence. I wish he would just get out of his own head and just use that instinct instead, because I think when he's instinctual, we saw it in the Portsmouth game, first game of the season, the goal that he scored was harder to score than the goal that he missed. So when he gets in his own head, that's when he fluffs his lines. I think he needs that kind of just less thinking, more doing type of thing.
Joe, this is a good point that Richard makes. Love it that we're getting goals from all over the plaque. This wasn't something that we did have last season, obviously. We still don't have a goal from midfield, if my calculations are right, although Tanaka had a goal today. No, I don't think we do this season. I think Gruev's still the last goal scorer, but we are sharing them amongst the wingers, the defenders now getting in amongst the act as well. So that's a good point by Richard, in it, that we're getting goals from all over.
Yeah, it means that we're a lot more balanced, because you knew that last season, if we were struggling, we all saw it every single week. It was just a case of, don't know what we do now. Do we just give Cree the ball and hope he does a thing?
Yeah.
And then sometimes he would, and it'd be fantastic. But then a lot of the time it'd be like, well, okay, but now they're not to double up on him. And then because he's Somerville, he wants to end his move with a shot. Yeah. And then you know how to deal with it. But now it's not only we're spreading the chances throughout the first 11, but we're spreading them a little bit further than that as well, because it's going between absolutely everyone from your subs to even players that are occasionally going to dip into the reserves, because we have such a deep squad at the minute that you don't need to say, okay, this one player will make the difference. You can say, okay, well, we take out those two, add these two, and that completely changes the dynamic, gives the defense something to think about, and then they're not only fighting a physical battle anymore, they've got to deal with it on a mental perspective as well, which I think is really useful for us. Like, our depth is more than just, look, we've got multiple people that can do the same job. It's they can do the same job, or we can completely change things if we want to cause them any problems, which is a good place to be, I think.
100%. Joe Donohue's just put out a tweet here. And listen, I know the opposition, because they were poor, but the centre-back partnership, Andrea, 93% pass accuracy, 27 passes into the final third. They were doing that a lot, both Strauch and Rodon. 6 out of 7 aerial duels won, 5 out of 9 long passes completed, and a goal between them. 0.08 XG conceded. They are pretty special, them two at the back, aren't they, when they're on it?
Yeah, absolutely. Depends, like you said, on the opposition too. But when they have the space, we know that they are the kind of players that are. One of them, Rodon, is good also when it comes.
I like it when he carries it over halfway.
Exactly.
And he's always looking to get it into Pirro or someone in the central area. It's really good.
Yeah, exactly. Progressing with the ball. The other one, Strauch, is good with both feet. It's good vision. Remember when Bielsa tried him to as the number 6 at one point. So he's very, very, very good in that regard. And honestly, I was still thinking about the next game against Boro. I won't rule out, honestly. I know he won't disrupt the centre-back partnership, because we've seen that he's rock solid right now. Of course, we conceded some poor goals recently, some distractions, I think Strauch, however, is better suited compared to Wöber when playing against high-pressing opposition like Boro in that left-back role. If Verp, of course, is out like it seems he is, because in that kind of games, you need one, like now with the left back trying to help us in midfield getting forward. We've seen that we've seen Bayern do that, against Luton. I think Strauch is better suited in that role. And we come again, to the thing that I was saying before. I don't want to see Ampadu at centre back. But here we are again. We have all the left backs injured, and you might consider to move Strauch there and play Wöber and Rodon at the back against Boro, because of the way the opposition is, because I think Strauch can play better in that specific role when it comes to do the things that Falke wants for him. But yeah, the centre-back partnership overall this season has been very, very good in terms of passing.
Yeah, it's very good. So progressive, so good defensively. There's not really much more we can say on the game. So Leeds United in top, like you rightly said earlier, Evie, we might see Sheffield United go 3 points back in front or a point. But the good thing is we'll end this round of fixtures in the top 2, which is impressive. What do you want to see Tuesday night? It's a quick turnaround. Obviously, Middlesbrough played last night. It is at home. Would you make any changes, or do you just go with the 11 that we started with tonight? What's your plan? And give us a score prediction. We'll have a little score prediction to finish up on Tuesday.
Score predictions. I always think I'm going to jinx it.
You don't have to give us one then if you don't want to.
I would hope that maybe Ramazani could start for me. I'd love to see Ramazani and James. Because as well, James will help out more defensively. Ramazani didn't get a yellow card today, which I was very happy with after his last 2 sub appearances, getting yellow cards within the first 10 minutes. But I would love to see that. I think we have to take the game, because I think obviously I know it was in the league, it was in the cup, but we owe them for that humiliation earlier on in the season, in my opinion. Even if that means we hold them to a draw, and I'm not advocating that we do drop points at home, but I'm just saying that in the grand scheme of all of the games that we've got coming up,
it's not that bad.
No, if we were to get something out of this game, I'm happy. If we win it, even better. And at home, I will always put us favourite to win, because like this season, we have been, other than 2 games where we, shipped 4 goals, we've been brilliant. We've been defensively solid. We've controlled every element from start to finish. Whether that's been perceived as boring is irrelevant. We have, it's factually correct. We have, controlled from the start to the finish. I would love to see. I can understand where you're coming from, Andrea, but seeing Strauch at left back gives me really bad PTSD.
Yeah,
it gives me like really, really bad PTSD of Jesse Marsh, and just seeing Strauch's little lost face as the ball goes past him again from a diagonal ball over the top, which apparently, according to Jesse Marsh, we didn't concede the same goal over and over, even though our eyes told us completely different. But I do get what you mean, but I think we would lose that attacking impetus. And I think maybe in this game, the best form of defence is attack. So maybe I would stick with Strauch and Rodon as well. I don't think we can underestimate how important partnerships are. And Strauch and Rodon have spent, obviously, the first half of this season as best pals next to one another. So as little change as possible for me. And if Firpo isn't available, then I would put Max Verber there, just because I don't want to disrupt that solid partnership that we've got of Strauch and Rodon. So everybody else, I'd have Ramazani, Dan James, probably Aronson. Well, definitely Aronson in this game. Pirro, I don't know. He's still really torn for me, because
it was good.
I don't think he was bad. He lost the ball in a few dangerous places today and broke down a couple of attacks. But Joseph equally didn't necessarily completely shine to take his place off him. If he'd done a little bit more, maybe. So I would probably start with Pirro, and the only one that I would change would be Ramazani for Solomon and Verber for Firpo. Yeah,
we shall see. I think.
Yeah.
I think this. I just want to pick up on a few comments just to think. Mark, I think this is so unfair. Like, it's like, what? So like it. No. Yeah,
we want to.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Exactly, that's the thing. Michael says Solomon can't start. I thought he was all right today. It
was very good.
Yeah, he
was very good.
He had the shot and effort at goal. I think
for me.
Yeah, I thought he was good as well, mate. But I wouldn't. To be honest, I'm at a stage where I don't mind any of the wingers. To be honest, whichever 2 he goes with, I'm content with. That they'll be able to do enough. Nonto's cut a frustrating figure for me, but I still know his levels are above what the opposition we're facing a lot of the time. So I'm easy. But to say that he was, I don't think he was. I thought he had a good game today.
Made the right choice in the right time, honestly.
Yeah. Every time he comes in, he beats his man. I can't remember him losing the ball when he goes to beat his man, to be honest. But
absolutely. And sometimes he went for a pass, but he could have shoot there, and he went for a pass. So I think also in the second half, especially the flow of the game in the final third, honestly, switching the sides, getting the ball to James, and all of that, honestly. Just on the discussion and the thing that Evie said, I agree absolutely. I want to be very, very clear. both Strauch and Wöber, none of them is a left back, of course. So we're talking about an emergency situation, of course, because they're both center backs. And we've seen in pre-season too, where someone was also suggesting that in the chat, but I think I will be open to that, but there's very little time, and you need time to change the formation, because if you play with a back four and you change from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3, it's easier. If you change, for example, let's say from a 4-2-3-1 to a 3-5-2 or 3-4-2-1, for example, right now we have all the natural left backs injured. So it might be all right to change in that regard, and play with a 3-5-2 or 3-4-2-1 with 2 attacking players, because you have 3 natural center backs. The only problem is that you have very, very little time. For example, you might have
defensively.
Sorry, GT.
I'm saying, do you think we have a left midfielder that could cover defensively in that 3-5-2?
Yeah, I think you can play, for example, a player there like. You can play with, for example, Solomon there, honestly, and you make him cover too. Honestly, I think it works, but there's very, very little time, honestly. And a change of formation from a back 4 to a back 3, it takes time, honestly. So right now it's difficult, it's very difficult, because none of them, Strauch and Wöber, is a left back. The only problem is that Farke today, it was all right, because they were just waiting deep and try to counter-attack.
Yeah, they were.
When you're playing against a different opposition, and let's remember that Wöber was subbed on in the game against Luton when the game was already, was in a very good position for us. The problem is against different opposition, if he gets forward, does he have the pace to cover back against, for example, for Doak, Jones, against Boro? It's difficult because it's an emergency situation, and I think that because we've seen that in recent times, for example, Firpo gets forward, gets in the final third, advances his position, and Bogle stays more back, trying to help the midfield and give us balance. I think the other solution is let's keep Wöber back or Strauch back. I think Wöber, because I agree with Eve in the end. Farke won't disrupt the partnership, the centre back partnership. In a different situation, it might be the natural solution, because Strauch is better suited compared to his pace, to his quality with both feet for that left back position. But right now, the right decision is, of course, keeping Strauch and Rodon as the centre back partnership and play Wöber in this emergency situation. The other solution might be, remember when Archie Gray was playing at right back and he covered in midfield, advanced his position in midfield to cover with Ampadu, when we were attacking, and there was on the other side Firpo getting forward. It might be the solution here, Wöber gets forward but doesn't follow up the play, tries to cover a bit in midfield. You allow Rothwell or Tanaka to get more forward, just one of them. So you maintain the balance, and you allow Bogle on the other side to do what Firpo is doing. Get forward, advance to the final third, stretch the team, be the link up between other players, between the wingers, for example, between James and Aronson, Pirot too. And even on Pirot, I don't know if it's the right game. We know that there's, many games played recently, so he might be changing something like with the wingers. I don't rule out, honestly, that we might see a change up front, honestly, for the next game. I don't think Joseph was great, honestly, when he came on. For the type of game, I think not from the start, but I think Bamford might play a part of it, honestly, next week, honestly.
I like the way you're thinking, man. I like the way you know what I want to see, man. If you talk of changing formations, I'd like to see a 4-3-3. I mean, you talk about issues at left back. I think you could solve that with a 4-3-3, because naturally you could potentially have, maybe if you're playing Strauch or Wöber at left back, you could have them tucking in more deep. And then in the times they do want to go forward, you've seen Tanaka likes to drop in and make that a back 3. And then if you had Rothwell on the left side of that midfield 3, he's a very good ball carrier. So he could potentially take some of the work in terms of driving the ball forward down that left-hand side of the pitch, maybe link up further. And then if you had an auxiliary front 3, you'd be able to stick them wider as well, because the midfield would be more filled in with a 3 midfield. I'd like to see that. I think we have a very good
word, JT. Auxiliary front 3.
Auxiliary front 3.
What was
I used that right there. I think I used
man, you did. It was nice. What did you
What did you take away from today's game, mate? How did you see it?
Well,
Did you see it? First and foremost, did you see it all?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was throwing up in the toilet, so I did miss a little bit. Hence the lateness. I did message Joe. I said I had a few issues. I meant with the stomach. I've been a little bit sick today. But yeah, I didn't. It wasn't like last time where I missed the best 10 minutes of the game and then everything else. But it wasn't. Listen, man, it is what it is. We were compact at the back, as you said. Derby weren't the most expansive team we've ever come up against, but 2-0, I'm never going to complain about that. It's important that we get the 3 points and get ourselves back moving forward again in the right direction. Would not have picked those 2 goal scorers out of a bucket hat if you told me that at the beginning of the game. So listen, man, we're getting goals throughout the pitch now, which is good to see. And hopefully we can carry that on, carry some momentum going for that. Obviously, you're not going to take too much out of this game in terms of our future games because, as you said, there wasn't too much stiff opposition there. But we got the job done in the first half and kept it tight at the back in the second. So overall, I don't have too many complaints for that. At least it's a good 3 points to cheer my stomach up after throwing my insides up out. But yeah, I'd like to see a change of formation. And as you said, man, I'd like to see Bamford up front because I think it's a game changer, man. I think that is the magic dime piece waiting to be executed. That is, you talk about auxiliary. That is an auxiliary number 9 right there in Patrick Bamford. He can hold it up. He can stretch the play. That is the man we need in there, and I think that will revolutionize us going forward. But a 4-3-3, Bamford in the middle, that's what I'd like to see. You talk about 3 at the back again, is something that I'd be intrigued to. But just on that left-hand side, I mean, Solomon, can he track back? I don't know if he has the legs to be doing what Fark would want him to be doing in terms of getting up the pitch and down the pitch. Does he have that kind of fitness on him? I know Dan James potentially on the right-hand side would be someone who would be suited to do that with his cardio. Ramadzani, listen, he's got legs on him, but I wouldn't want him pushing too deep. I think he's better in the further forward parts, but that's personally. But I did like your breakdown of how we could go 3 at the back, and I have to say,
yeah, it's going to be a tough game on Tuesday night, and obviously that's where all eyes on now. We won't gas this one up too much. We were expecting to beat them, and we did what was necessary.
Derby, hey, listen, mate, they gassed it up when they beat us 1 time out of 4 in one season, so I think we're allowed to gas it up a little bit. You know what I mean? They're getting a little bit too big for them bridges, them Derby fans.
I did enjoy Caden Jackson playing and having a stinker because he was the guy who barely played for Ipswich and was sat on their bus going, Leeds are falling, totally out of tune on his own. So I'm glad he had an absolute stinker. So yeah,
I'm surprised, honestly, from what I'm reading. You know that they like dedicated on English television or all special before the game to Spygate when there's a lot of better history between Leeds and Derby in the 70s to talk about. You know.
I know, it was crazy, wasn't it? Right, let's finish up with some score predictions ahead of Tuesday. Evie, what was the one you gave us? Sorry, or did you not?
I didn't, but I think we'll win. But that's as much as I'm going to say.
As you're saying. I'll get us off that. I think we'll win 2-1. I do think they'll score, but I think we'll win 2-1. Not 2-2, 2-1. 2-1. Joe B, what are you saying?
I'm going to go 2-1 as well, and I'm going to follow JT down the rabbit hole, and I'm going to say it's going to be a Pat Bamford win, but people are still going to be angry that he played.
Wow, that's a big one. Yeah, that will be that. Yeah, Bamford still angry. Allison thinks 1-1. I don't think a draw would be that much of a bad result. Andrea,
I think he's gonna end in a draw, like Lang is saying to for me too, honestly. And I just wanted to say too, because it feels like every time someone mentions Bamford, it's like in Harry Potter when they mention Voldemort right now. You know who and all that. Honestly, I don't get that. It's I want you to clear, you know, to elaborate a little bit what I said before. You know, I still think we need a different type of number 9. I don't think, honestly, I'm sorry, JT, that Bamford can play a big part this season. But overall, I understand, and that's why I said I think he might play a part, you know, a part of the game compared to the cameo that Joseph had today. I think Fake gave a big opportunity today to Joseph, and I don't think he did well in that part of the opportunity. So I think he will give another opportunity.
He just
sorry, Joe, I lost you for a bit.
He just looks busy. He looks like he's doing a lot, but not actually doing a lot.
Who, Joseph?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, but he is doing a lot. He's doing more off the ball. Like when he's looking busy, he is still occupying defenders and dragging them away, and he is still giving them a different kind of problem to deal with.
Sure, bro.
But then that's why I say Pat Bamford is the answer, because he does all of that work that Joseph does in looking busy off the ball and dragging.
And he's
them
effective.
The problem is the pace.
and he's slightly more effective. Yeah.
Is his pace for me, mate. The problem is his pace. You know, we remember the Pat Bamford that had pace in the Premier League, that stretched the team, that pressed under Bielsa. Right now, if you see him, his pace is as completely slowed down, you know, when he does the things that he used to do. So he doesn't have the impact that he used to have years ago. It's not the same player anymore. And that the problem is that he doesn't have the impact that he had. He had 3-4 good games of run of form, you know, in January when he scored after the Peterborough and all of that. And the thing is, people say, oh, sell him in January. Yeah, but the problem is he has a contract till 2026. He has 2 more years on his contract, and it's difficult to find a solution for a player that has another 2 years contract. You can't loan him out because he has a long contract with other 2 years. So you keep him in that position, and then you try to find a solution at the end of the season if you want to offload him, to sell him, you know. But it's very difficult, honestly, because he has another 2 years on his contract. In that situation, you know, we need another number 9 for me. I was glad when I saw Joseph, honestly, subbed on today in a different role, because when he was subbed on, Pirlo was still on the pitch, if I remember correctly. Sometimes I mixed up the subs. But remember last season when I said, when Rotter had the knee operation, I said, why not try Joseph in the number 10 behind Pirlo? So today, I think when they play together, I think Joseph, if he's not working well in the number 9, try him, give him the chance. Today, the game was over basically when he came on. Mm-hmm. Okay, he gave him the chance. He didn't, you know, use it well. But I think it might be also a different solution for certain positions in the future. I'm not saying things making up teams, you know. In pre-season 2 years ago, last season, remember the first time Fike played Joseph against Man United was a left winger. Yeah. So he's versatile. He moves a lot. He's very, I think he's similar to Rotten in certain positions. We've seen him play in the 9, but his all the play, the way he moves around, the way he plays 1-2 passes and sprints, I think you can play him like not a number 10, I'm saying, like a second striker, basically, you know, in a certain situation. So we need to find the proper way to let him play, to play to his skills, you know, to the type of footballer he is, you know. Because but so far 10. He started well. Not the number 10. It's like more of a second striker, I think, in a certain sense, you know. Okay. If you play him alongside another one. The only problem is that he started well at the start of the season, then it happens a lot with young players, you know. They need consistency. If they don't find consistency, they might get lost. And that's what happened to Joseph. He needs to find the confidence, the consistency there. He's placing the team back, not in the starting 11, but in the team, you know. He needs to understand, this is my role. This is the number of minutes I'm looking to. I want to play first objective, first goal is I want to be the first choice sub. Against Blackburn, Bamford was the first choice sub. It's little by little, you know, like the Oasis song. Little by little, I think he needs to find his feet back into
he does, but that's why if he's not going to play Bamford, I think he should just be playing Joseph, because he would at least have more scope of development to turn into the striker that Farke wants for his system. Perrault, as I said, great goal scorer. He's never going to fit the system. Farke said that 2-3 games into his stint, he said, why are you playing Perrault in the 10 and Rutter up front? Rutter, who's more of or number 10, he said, because Perrault can't press. He can't do the work off the ball that I want from my number 9. So Joseph can do some of those things. It's just he's becoming a little bit more wasteful. And as you said, because he's been in and out of the side a bit more, his form has dropped, and his confidence has got lower. So even if you're going to have a few bad performances from Joseph, I don't really like the fact that he started the season off with Joseph, then he took Joseph out for a few games and put Perrault in, then he put Joseph back in for a few games, and then since then he's dropped him and put Perrault back in. Just keep a consistent string of Joseph in there and bringing Perrault off the bench or playing Perrault somewhere else, because He's not going to develop into the striker that Farke wants, and at least Joseph can, with game time as a young guy, develop into that position if he's not going to play Bamford. But again, big question marks have to be asked to the upstairs of who is making these decisions in terms of bringing strikers in. Why are you not consulting Farke as to what he needs for a striker? Because now we're in a situation, I see the chat flooding every time I say Bamford, bring a striker in January, bring a striker in January. You're not going to be able to offload Bamford because of his wages. You're not going to be able to offload Perot because of the money that we spent for him. And Joseph, most likely, what are you going to loan him out? I don't really see us getting rid of Joseph in January either. So you're not going to be having a situation where you have 4 number 9s on your book. So you have to look at the players that we have instead of just saying go in January. And either for me, either you're going to have confidence in Bamford. If you're not going to try Bamford because maybe there's something I'm not seeing in the training ground or something, you got to stick with Joseph and start giving him a consistent string of minutes.
That's amazing. And the thing is, Bamford is the only tall striker that we have that can, try to pair with the tall, strong center backs. That's the only one that we have. We have another one that doesn't press, and another one, a very young striker that needs time, Matteo Joseph, to develop.
And that will help us defensively from set pieces as well. Having a tall man back there. He used to be very good from defensive set pieces, and we know we're leaky. We're like Pure Gym, as I said, open for business 24/7 back there from a set piece. So we could do with any kind of height in that box.
We will. The idea, I'm still convinced the ideal player in January is a kind of player like not him specifically, but like you said, Joe, a similar player to Connor Chaplin, one that can play also in the 9 but also in the 10. If you have to pick one player,
Yeah. For sure. Sorry, I'm yawning. We do.
You're a funny guy, Joe. You're a funny guy. You.
Why?
You got your expressions written all over your face. You're blowing out of your ass like Mirko Antonucci.
Oh yeah, I'm tired, man. I'm tired, and I've got to drive now to Halifax. So I'm jumping straight in the car. So yeah, I'm knackered. Yeah, so we will see what January's around the corner. Hopefully Leeds United will do some business. I think the most important bit's a 10, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Look at this. Listen, make sure, Joe, did you give me a score prediction?
Yeah, I went 2-1. And I went with the Pat Bamford winner.
You did. Sorry, you went to all. Eve, you went Leeds win. Did you give us one, JT?
No, I didn't, mate. I wasn't asked by the big man. Big man didn't point his magic finger at me. Listen, man, Borough. I still have Vietnam flashbacks from that last time they came to Ellen Road. That was a bit of a humiliation job, wasn't it? So I only see this going one or two ways. Either we get humiliated again, or we make a damn statement, because you cannot have what they did to us earlier on in the season. You had Ailing coming around for his ceremonial clap, and then they clapped us, ironically, straight after that. So we need to go out there, make a statement, early doors. I want to see us take the game to them. I don't even care if we pull the handbrake on in the second half. First half, I want to see us get at least 2 or 3 goals and actually make a statement that, you know what, that was a bit humiliating. We did get embarrassed for it, but we're back, and we're actually going to be making a consistent string of wins to get ourselves back up to the top of the table. And I really want to see just a statement performance, not just the result, but today on Tuesday, I actually want to see us go out and try and take the game to them and really, really put them under the pressure, because I think we can. Because as you've seen, Middlesbrough, I do have them as dark horses, but they are gettable. They are gettable defensively. We did see that the first time.
I think as well what it'll do to the fan base.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You need to rejuvenate the fan base. You need to give them something to get behind, something to believe in, something to get the pressure off Farke's back, something to get the pressure off the players back.
It's crazy crazy that there is pressure when we're sat top of the league, but I hear you.
But it's Leeds. There's always going to be with the squad we have, and because listen, the reason there's pressure with Leeds is because we all know if we don't do it this time, we're probably not going to do it the season after. And then we'll probably end up, we all know there's a situation very likely where we could end up another 5-6 years in the Championship if we don't take advantage of this moment. When you get relegated, you have a 1 or 2 year grace period where you still have a decent bit of money and you can make another charge. And if you fail in that time, you can get easily stuck in the Championship. And we've seen it for 16 years. So that's why there's obviously a lot more pressure around Leeds.
100% agreed. Right, we will end it there. Listen, I want to thank Joe B for coming on. Make sure you go check out his channel, Joe Blackburn. Andrea for coming on and always giving us the top tier analysis, top notch. Your impression of me was terrible, by the way. And Evie, Discourse of a Peacock?
The Peace.
It's not that kind of channel, I promise you. Discourse of a Peacock, Eve. Go check it out. And of course, JT Live for the wildest takes in the YouTube game.
Whoa. You're giving Andrea the big, and you're giving everyone else the big, and I get the wildest
I'm
take.
just joking, man. I'm just joking. I know I will. Everyone, thanks, Oliver, for your lovely comments and that. Thank you all for watching. I'll be back tomorrow for the final word. I shall see you in a bit. I did, Sean. You're right. Bloody hell. Right, we'll leave it there.